If you look for it, every day has cause for celebration. Celebrate a friend for their promotion, baby wedding, life thing. Celebrate yourself for keeping the couch warm. It's no easy feat, especially if it's a big couch. Or maybe you just want to celebrate living in 2023, where you can get beer, wine, and spirits delivered from Drizzly in under 60 minutes without leaving said couch. So download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com and get your favorite drinks delivered today.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 84 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Digital Federal Credit Union, better known as DCU. And since their beginnings as the credit union for the employees of Digital Equipment Corporation in 1979, DCU has never lost sight of its roots of being a not-for-profit financial cooperative owned by and operated by and for their members. And a lot of things can change in 40 years, but some things remain constant, like DCU's unwavering commitment to provide exceptional service and to make a positive impact in the communities where their members live and work. And no matter what their members' unique goals are, they are committed to helping them the only way they know how, the DCU way, which consists of 3 simple philosophies that guide each and every DCU team member. People come first, do the right thing, and make a difference. Giving back is central to what they do. And I know this because I've been working with DCU for almost 2 decades now. And I've watched how they treat their customers, and I also watch the kind of initiatives they get behind. Before we get going, I want to send some love to some of the people that have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass on Patreon. So I want to say hi to Brian, Marcy, Robert, Christina, Lindsay, Betty, Michelle, John, Larkin, and Sharon. If you want to get more details on the Mistress Carrie Backstage Passes, you can search Mistress Carrie on Patreon or click the link on mistresscarrie.com. Okay, you better buckle up for this episode because this is going to take you on a ride. Right before Christmas, I had a chance to sit down with Lilith Czar, and we talked the week that the Evanescence and Hailstorm co-headlining tour was postponed because of COVID. And Lilith was basically in Cincinnati in the childhood bedroom of her husband, Andy Bierzak from Black Veil Brides. What was supposed to be a 30 to 45-minute conversation about her new album, Created from Filth and Dust, turned into a 2-hour laugh fest. You know that scene in Step Brothers when they look at each other and they're like, did we just become best friends? Do you want to go do karate in the garage? That's basically what happens in this episode between Lilith Czar and I. We had an absolute blast. And by the end of it, we were looking at each other's feet. I'm not kidding. It really happened. We talked about growing up and musical inspiration, songwriting, touring, relationships, the aforementioned feat, what it's like to be a woman in the rock and roll business, and so much more. We had an absolute blast. And those shows with Hailstorm and Evanescence are being made up this week. Lilith Czar is also taking part in the big gig at the end of April in Worcester, Massachusetts at the DCU Center, which is the farewell show for WAAF, the radio station that I used to be on. Godsmack, 3 Days Grace, Wage War, and the aforementioned Black Veil Brides are also on the lineup, and tickets are still available. I could not have had more fun talking to Lilith Czar, and by the end of the interview, my abdomen physically hurt from laughing. She is hilarious. She is ballsy. She takes no shit, and she has got opinions, but she is also sweet and sentimental and sensitive. And you know what? Allow me to introduce you to the one and only Lilith Czar.
Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain.
Mustaine, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
You're on the record now.
Okay. So I won't say anything I regret.
Yeah. Or you can if you want. That's fine too.
No, I'm good. I'm a Pisces, so anything I can do to avoid saying something I regret.
Probably
otherwise, I'll just sit and think about it all Christmas.
Oh.
just obsess over it.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Yeah. My first question is, what should I call you? What do you prefer now?
You can call me Lilith.
Okay. I know you're not home. You just told me before I hit record you're not home. Where are you?
I am in my husband's childhood bedroom. So we had an abrupt end to the Evanescence Hailstorm tour. By the grace of God, it happened in Cincinnati, where my in-laws live. So I was able to pack up really quickly and just kick it here until Andy got here for Christmas.
That is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because you have now got like back-to-back shows scheduled here, because the rescheduled date for Worcester with Evanescence and Hailstorm is now January 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to be coming back at the end of April and playing the same arena at the big gig with Godsmack and 3 Days Grace and Black Veil Brides. So I figured we should get to know each other, because I'm going to see you a lot.
I love this plan. I mean, it's also what's the word I'm looking for? It's something, these arenas and these venues that I'm playing and these artists I'm playing with, it's just been like, a dream for so many years. So this is like, it's almost, I don't really believe it until I'm standing on the stage kind of, scenario. So I'm very fortunate to be playing not once, but twice next year. This, venue. It's really awesome.
And then they just released the entire lineup for the Welcome to Rockville Festival in Daytona, which is just ridiculous. I mean, that's a ridiculous festival.
It's ridiculous. Like, it's a dream festival. It's all my favorite bands. I cannot stop telling myself, like, every day, like, you're playing the same day Foo Fighters is playing. Like, what? They're my favorite. My favorite modern rock band is Foo Fighters. So for me, this is just like, next year is going to be awesome.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons. And I've been telling everybody, ask for concert tickets for gifts and give concert tickets as gifts, because 2022 is shaping up to be probably the craziest touring year ever.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, with the backlog and with, 2020 going to shit, and then pretty much everything that was supposed to happen in 2020 got moved to 2021. And so now it's kind of like the floodgates have been opened, and everyone and their mom is like, going on tour.
Out on tour.
Yeah.
Do you mind going back? Because I want people to kind of understand what your story is. And I want to know, going back to like your childhood, I think it's fascinating. Here's my theory on music. My theory is that music lovers get exposed to music from the people that hand it down to them. So parents, older siblings, the cool uncle, whatever it is. And then at one point in your music loving adolescence, you cross a line where you say, okay, for the first time, this music is mine. This band, this song is something you discover on your own. What was the soundtrack of your house growing up? And then what was that first artist that you were like, okay, now I've found my own musical identity?
Well, growing up, what opened my eyes to rock music and classic rock and blues and soul and all of that was like, my parents playing Zeppelin, Beatles, Rolling Stones, Fleetwood Mac, Simon and Garfunkel, Steve Miller, Jimi Hendrix, to Aretha Franklin, to James Brown, Otis Redding, the classics. And so that was like very much injected into my musical DNA from a young age. And I would say around 11, 12 was when I was introduced to, like, on my own accord. Obviously, I listened to the radio a lot. And so I was introduced to Foo Fighters, Alanis Morissette, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Jimmy Eat World, Dashboard Confessional, Metallica. And then, that opens, that's kind of like, your gateway drug is once you accidentally start finding all of these gems, it leads you down the path of like, okay, well, who influenced them? Who are they on tour with? And it just kind of like, opens the gate, and it's just from there, you're going down the rabbit hole.
At what point when you were growing up, did you go from just listening to the radio and getting exposed to all that amazing classic rock that your parents were playing? At what point did you go, I think I'm a musician, I think I'm a singer? Does it run in the family?
Well, yeah, we have a lot of musicians in the family. I knew I was a singer. I mean, like at the age of like 3 or 4, even though I was god awful, that's what I did. I walked around the house singing all day long, dancing, performing, putting on, like, it was my sister, my brother, and I's favorite thing to do every night was like to put on a show for our family. And it was, God bless them for sitting through the weird shit we made them watch us do. But I knew I wanted to be a singer from a very, very young age. I didn't really start getting very serious about it until I was like 12 years old, when I actually like started trying to learn to like write my own songs and stuff like that. But singing has always been in my life since I can remember.
Do you remember the first song you wrote?
Yes, I do. It's called I Need You Now, and it's awful. It's so bad. I have to, we're going to Florida in, like next week to visit my parents. And I know I have the CD somewhere, but I have it recorded. And it is so bad, but I was so proud of it. And it was that surge of like, I don't know how to explain it. When you create something and you write something out of thin air, and then you then record it and you listen to this thing that you created, there's like, it drives you and pushes you to do it again. There's a feeling, it's kind of like being on stage, you want that feeling over and over and over again. And so, even though the song is terrible, it propelled me to continue, writing and recording and all of that. So
I'm very envious.
I love it for that reason.
Yeah. I'm very envious of the process of songwriting because I can't do it. I've tried because I love music so much, and my level of musical ability stopped in the high school marching band with the clarinet, and it never pursued anything further. And I've had the most amazing conversations with artists over the years because so many great artists came from the marching band.
Sure. And look, I don't know how to play the clarinet. I couldn't play the clarinet if you put a gun in my head right now.
Neither could I, Lilith.
A clarinet player on my record, I would love to call you.
There's not enough heavy metal clarinet these days. There just really isn't.
Oh man.
Run it through like a Marshall stack with a wah-wah pedal or something. It could be amazing.
Oh my. That could be really cool. What's the last song I heard with?
It's got to be like New Orleans blues. It's really
yeah. Well, I'm thinking like, didn't they
jazz.
have that like in the Eagles? Didn't they use that a lot?
It's possibly the saxophone just was way cooler when it came to rock and roll. Like the sax, if you're gonna go down the coolness of reed instruments, the sax is just way cool.
Yeah, the saxophone and just no shirt. That's just all when I think of somebody playing sax, I just think of like, you know, what is that? What was that 80s movie? Fire.
St. Elmo's Fire.
That's what it makes me think of.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. So
that
funny.
was Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe. Oh man.
Yeah.
So good.
He changed a lot of girls' lives back then.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. So are you discovering you're a singer super young and then trying to play instruments? Like at what point were you just like, nope, singing is my jam. This is what I'm doing?
Well, I started piano before I started to learn to play guitar. And so I knew I loved singing, but I also knew that I loved writing. And what happened was I started piano lessons and I was like, okay, cool. And I got kind of good. And I was just like, all right, this is a little boring and not as sexy as I want it to be. Yeah. So what happened was around the age of 12, I would say, my brother was a musician and is a musician. Great. He's like one of those musicians that knows how to play like every instrument. Like when he writes and records a record,
I
he
hate
plays all
people
the
like that.
I
just don't even
I'm
try.
like, oh, cool. You're good at everything. I hate you. So he got very sick of me coming to him to be like, hey, I have this idea for a song. Here are some lyrics. Can you help write the music? Because, you know, he was so good at guitar and all that. And he was like, you know, for a few times he humored me and would sit and write the chords. And finally he was like, okay, I've had enough of this. Here, gave me like a spare acoustic guitar. He's like, learn how to play this. And I was like, cool. What's this? No idea what I was doing. And he was the first one to you know, teach me C, G, D, A, like all the very simple basic Beatles chords. And so for about like, you know, learning to play guitar it's excruciating for the person learning, but it's also excruciating for the people that live in the house with the person learning to play guitar, because all day long they just
when you're trying to play the clarinet too.
Clank. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I think anybody learning to play an instrument who's ever subjected to that noise,
yes,
like deserves a fucking medal. Because for 6 months it was just me in my bedroom being like, plink, plank, plunk. Next chord, ding, pang, pang.
Not only that, but it wreaks havoc on your fingers too.
Oh, my fingertips are destroyed for life. I mean, it's kind of like a badge of honor having calluses, because it's like, oh, this is how much I love my instrument. But also like, I don't know, man. Like anytime my husband and I are like laying in bed watching a movie and like I go to pet his head, he's like, get your rock fingers off my face, please. Sorry, here's the other hand. So yeah, my brother, I really owe that, you know, my musicianship and songwriting, like the beginning stages of that to my brother, you know, kind of getting fed up with me.
I love hearing what guitar players, what was the song that you finally played right and you were like, oh my God, I might actually know how to do this now? Do you remember what it was?
Man, I've never been asked that. I mean, the first song I learned to play, I guess I owe it to the first song I learned to play on guitar, which was Love, Love Me Do by the Beatles. And the reason that's usually the first song every guitar player learns, it's because it's only 2 chords.
But a brilliant 2 chords.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the best pop songs ever. But that was this. I mean, I was just like, wow, you can write a song with 2 chords? This is amazing. I'm going to keep doing this.
Paul McCartney cashes checks every month from writing songs with 2 chords. Big checks, too.
Dude, I'm watching that documentary right now.
Oh, the Peter Jackson documentary?
Yeah, Get Back. Have you watched any of it?
Yeah.
They're
my favorite band. And I apologize to everyone that listens to the show that hates the Beatles.
What do you have to apologize?
No.
Oh my God.
Because the Beatles, first of all, anybody that hates the Beatles, I don't understand you. Just fuck off. But anybody that does, I feel so bad because it doesn't matter the musician. It doesn't matter how new the band, how old the band. At one point or another, these conversations always go back to the Beatles. Every single time.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were pioneers.
Yeah.
And not just that, but like, besides Rubber Soul, sorry. Not a dud.
Yeah.
Not a lot of bands, can say that every single record, like you could sit and debate every Beatles record, like which one's the best the entire day.
Well, Rubber Soul is the transition record. That's the record that they had to go through to get to Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper, the White Album, because they were coming from the Love Me Do Beatles, and they needed a conduit, and Rubber Soul
They needed to get weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they needed to kind of go somewhere where they were like, maybe we just take it back a little bit and we mix a little bit of this.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. But yeah, I mean, watching this documentary is so fascinating because you're like, wait a minute, that's how you guys wrote that? Oh my God.
Watching McCartney write Get Back in 3 minutes, just sitting there.
It's sickening. I mean, God really does have his favorites.
Seriously. Can you leave some excellence for the rest of us, please? Just leave 2 songs for someone else to write, please.
I know. But also, like, I think about this all the time. I'm like, are we going to ever reach a point in music where, like, there's nothing left to write?
I mean, when I talk to guitar players all the time, I ask them, like, how did Tony Iommi and Jimmy Page and, like, Hendrix and Angus Young not take all the rock and roll riffs? Like, did they take them all? Are there any left?
I mean, they did pretty. I mean, if you listen to anything past like 1990, everything can be traced back to, these iconic songwriters and iconic guitar players. It's like we could, for the rest of time, we could continue to write, original material. But everything at least for me, when I listen to music now, it's almost like it's like watching a movie with my sister. She's an actress. It's an impossible thing to do because the entire time she's like, wow, that was delivered poorly. Like she's commenting on the movie and the acting, the story and the
it's like being in the car with me listening to the radio.
I'm sure it's the same thing. Yeah. So like I listen to a song and I go, melody is exactly this, or that chord progression is this. It's very hard for me to listen to music without being like very cynical.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's this melody. It's just half a step down.
And all of those iconic guitar riffs too, though, if you asked a Jimmy Page or, if you were able to ask a Hendrix or whatever, they would be able to point to the little known blues cats that they were picking stuff from too. So those riffs didn't even come from them. It's just that they got it from somewhere else. So I guess it's impossible to kind of be the originator of anything.
I mean, it's true. I mean, they say that if you want, what's the saying? I don't know what the exact saying is, but they say, like, if you want to really understand your heroes, listen to their heroes. And so, like, it's and then imagine listening to their heroes as heroes. And like, you can trace it back to, the beginning of music itself, but everything is influenced by everything. And I think we've gotten to a point in music where it's just like, I listen to songs and I'm like, that is straight up this song. That is exactly, like it's getting to that point where everything new is, you can connect the dots.
Yeah. And sometimes I like the architecture, the archaeological dig though. I like a song that makes me go, ooh, wait, hold on. And then you dig it back and go through the layers because you find such amazing music that you may not have discovered before.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was actually not called out, but this guy was doing a reaction to King, one of my songs.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, they do those like YouTube reaction videos. And he was so complimentary, very, very nice. But when I was writing that song with my producer, our first like influence for that song was Zeppelin's Immigrant Song. And he nailed it right on the head. I was watching the video and he stops it at the beginning because there's like this bass line that's like very much like the beginning of Immigrant Song. And he called it. And I was like, oh my God, see, it's just, we've gotten to that point in music where it's like something is like something.
But we're also getting to a point now where the Immigrant Song is so old that a new rock fan that may not have ever even known, it's as weird as this sentence is to come out of my mouth, for a new rock fan to not have known.
Don't say it.
For a new rock fan to have not known about the Immigrant Song, a teenager that discovers Lilith Czar, right? And then all of a sudden sees that reaction video and goes, wait, what are they talking about? And then they're like, Google Immigrant Song. And then this thing comes out of their speakers. Like, we're at the point now where these things are going to happen as much as we don't want to say it out loud.
No, for sure. I mean, it's generational too. Like when I was a teenager discovering, one of my mom's favorite singers, Janis Joplin. Like, I'm listening to Alanis, Fiona Apple, Jewel, a lot of these 90s iconic and like early 2000s rock singers. My mom's like, hey, check out this woman named Janis Joplin that was, from the 70s, my era, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God.
See
like,
Joni Mitchell. See.
Then Heart. Yeah. Then Joan Jett and
hell yeah.
Patti Smith and like all of these, just like Blondie, like all of this, it just takes you back to, again, down the rabbit hole of just, incredible musicians and singers.
When I interviewed Andy a couple months ago, we were talking about how amazing putting a tour together with Evanescence, Hailstorm, and Lilith Czar was. And I've been in rock radio for 30 years. And so I feel like, at that time when I got into it, it's like every station had to have one female DJ. And she was usually on the air at night or she was on the air during the day. And when I started getting into like radio programming, I remember so vividly and clearly, well, we have a female band on the air right now, so we don't need another one. Like, we're not talking about the
token woman.
Yes. And for a long time, I was that token woman, right? And I remember these meetings. And so when I'm having this conversation with Andy, I wrote down some of the quotes because I thought it was really profound. Especially because he's not just in rock himself, but obviously married to a female artist. He said being married to you opened his eyes to the unique struggles and double standards when it came to female artists in the industry, which I thought was really amazing. He said he thinks right now there is a renaissance in rock and roll because the doors have been kicked open, and that women in rock right now, it's almost gotten to the point where it's not the novelty it once was. And he also said that the level of badassery of the women in rock right now is almost immeasurable. What do you say about those quotes?
I say I married the right man. He's Andy. I've been with him for almost 11 years. And yeah, still to this day, his level of intelligence and manner of speaking, all of it still blows me away.
He's an amazing guy to interview.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I can't even I'm like, his ability to intelligently convey exactly what it is he's thinking, and articulate it so well. It's a gift. Again, God has his favorites.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say. So, he's witnessed firsthand the shit that I've been up against, and the subjugation and the misogyny and the sexism and all of that, and just kind of being the sore thumb, being the being treated different because of my gender and all of that. And so he has seen it firsthand, over the last 11 years, and understands it as a man, as a husband, as a best friend, as a confidant,
as a fellow musician and someone that's in the industry. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's something that, again, unless, and I'm sure most women can relate to this. It's unless you're, watching a woman for years go through what she has to go through in order to succeed in any field, it's very hard to explain, and it's very hard to understand. You couldn't you can't, it's very hard to sit with somebody who hasn't seen it firsthand and be not sound like you're just complaining, or whining about something. It's no, it's something you deal with day in and day out, all day, little subtleties, little things to big things to, to how somebody responds to you versus how they respond to a man. It's and it builds and builds and builds to the point where you're just all right, I'm changing my name and my entire brand is going to be about female empowerment.
Well, that's why I asked you at the beginning of the interview what you even wanted me to call you, because I think the way that you just kind of, drew that line in the sand and you said, you know what, moving forward, this is what I'm doing. Tell me if this is your experience. There are very few rock musicians that have kind of had the career path that you've had. And obviously, as soon as you get into, for pop country or whatever, it's okay to have a tie to reality shows and competition shows. But for some reason, rock, we're so much more cynical, right? So I talked to Chris Daughtry, and who, is one of the only rock artists that I think could probably relate to you, having time on The Voice or whatever. And he talked about the years after The Voice and the music that he created and all the people that had influence into the songs, the song order on the records, the artwork, the way that the videos looked, all of it. And the music that he's making now that he's an independent artist. And he said this is the first time that he is fully in control, that the music and everything is his artistic vision. And he's I'm at the point where I don't even care if people like it anymore because at least it's me.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way too?
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Wow. That's so amazing that I didn't know that. He said that because, there's not a lot of us that can say, oh, we were on this huge giant singing competition show, left it, got completely, swallowed up by the control factory that is major record labels, and then spit out the other side, survived, and can say, now I'm making music that is totally me and what I want to put out. not a lot of people can say that. So I love that I have that in common with him because I just respect him so much as a musician. That is something that I can absolutely say. You know, I came off that show, and even though, you know, on the show I was a classic rock artist, you know, they wanted me, because I was a woman, they wanted me to do pop. I came out, and the A&R that I signed with was like, you know, I just think that women don't really succeed in rock music, and it's like 1 in a million, and, you know, you're really good looking, and we just think that, you know, we could just do like edgy pop. You could be like, you know, like an edgier Pink. So, the words coming out of my mouth, I want to throw up. So,
and nothing against Pink, who's
cool,
incredibly talented.
No.
And
yeah, are you kidding me? I can't hold a candle to Pink.
She has got some pipes and some badassery for sure.
She's so fucking badass. So, but not a pop artist,
right?
By any means. And so that relationship, it lasted like 1.5 years, 2 years. It spoiled over time because I was just like, I cannot believe, like, I had songs like "Oh Darling" by the Beatles and, you know, James Brown, "It's a Man's World." You're trying to get me to do pop, but those like went number 1 on like iTunes and like it was high on the Billboard. Like what? Doesn't make any sense. So it was like this conflict for like 2 years, and I was just like, I'm fucking out, dude. Like, I can't do this. You know, spent a couple years really trying to, you know, piece my identity back together, you know, because such a big brand, you get swallowed up in this giant ocean. And it's like, it's really tough to separate yourself and your, you know, who you are as an artist and your identity from something that's like, you know, every person in the world knows about.
Did it make you want to quit? Did you think about quitting at one point?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Every day?
More times than I can count. It was just like, you know, the reason I did the show was because I had spent, I don't know, from the age of like 15, I'd been touring. And it was like, I just got to a point where, you know, 5 record deals in, doing it the hard way, earning my stripes, putting in the, you know, the time in the van and the cars and the RVs and all of that. And like, I had paid my dues, and it was like, why isn't this working for me? And then God was like, it's because you're a woman. And I was like, fuck you. No, just so yeah, you know, after the show and after, you know, just fighting with the record label about what kind of a record we were going to make and all of that, I was just like, okay, I need to like find myself again. And so I spent a couple years, you know, making independent music, doing crowdfunding, EPs. And I think it was in 2017, I started talking to Sumerian. And I was like, this is definitely a home for me. You know, I was looking at the roster and just everything the label has done. And I was like, this could be a really great new home. And then I met up with Scott Stevens, who works with Daughtry as well. And we just started writing. And the first thing he said to me when I entered his studio was, you don't have a sound. He's like, your voice has a sound, and you have your own voice. And that's a great place to start. But we have to hatch what your sound is. And so we spent basically 2.5, 3 years writing and recording and putting together Created from Filth and Dust.
If you get born as a woman with a voice like ours, it's like you got to do something with, like, this voice doesn't sing. This voice doesn't whisper sweet nothings. It kicks doors in. It's all it does. That's what my voice is, right? And it's like,
absolutely.
If I wasn't on the radio, I don't know what else I would do with it. The fact that they wanted your voice to be like a pop voice when it's such a rock voice is amazing to me.
You know what else he said? He goes, your voice, because we were arguing over a mix of this song called Wild Child. And they were trying to remove the electric guitars and they were trying to remove the drums. And he said, my A&R said to me, your voice can't be on a song with real drums and electric guitar because it's already like raspy enough. If you have electric guitars or drums or real bass, it becomes a rock song because of your voice. And I'm like thinking in my head,
duh.
Yeah, you idiot. Why is that not registering in your brain? Like, yeah, because it's a rock voice.
Yeah.
It's not a pop voice.
I'm not trying to make it sound like this. Like if I recorded myself like first thing in the morning, it's almost so low you can't understand it. I have to warm it up.
I completely know what you're talking about. When I wake up in the morning, it's like I just gargled with like a bottle of Jack.
Yeah, like crawled out of a grave. Literally this morning, my insurance guy called, right? And it was first thing in the morning. I'm literally like sipping my first cup of coffee and I answer the phone and he goes, "Oh my God, did I wake you up?" And I was like, No. This is what it sounds like.
My manager, one of my managers, like she calls me all the time, like first thing in the morning. And I'll answer. I'll be like, "Hello." And she'll be like, "Hello." And I'll be like, "Bridget, it's just my voice in the morning. Like, why?"
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it is absolutely. I totally know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, like your voice is so perfectly suited for rock radio. I can't, it's like, it's absolutely what that voice was born to do.
It's all
my voice was born to sing rock music.
Yeah,
period.
Like I would think that after all the years, I mean, you know, my purple hair has been my thing it's been purple for 30 years. So I couldn't get rid of it now. My own mother wouldn't recognize me without it. You would think that would be what people at the supermarket would go, "Is that Mistress Carrie?" And no. Every time they hear my voice or they hear me laugh, which I have the most annoying cackle on the planet. And they're
gosh, me too.
And they're like, "Oh, that's Mistress Carrie?" And I'm like, "You didn't know it was me because my hair's bright purple?" And they were like, "No, I heard the voice." Because nobody sounds like that, because it sounds like you've been gargling glass since puberty.
That's so, I say gargling concrete.
Yeah. Battery acid, like I'm just sitting around ripping butts with no filters on them. Just like, and I don't even smoke.
That's so funny.
I smoked in
some
college
people are just
and that's it. Yeah, it's just what you get.
Yeah. I used to hate the sound of my like voice. And it was Andy who was like, "You have like a traditional rock and roll sounding voice." And I'm like, "What?" Like I have a hard time listening to my own voice without being like, am I dying?
Like, but do you think somebody like Janis Joplin or Joan Jett, the women we were talking about, like, they were not going to be self-conscious? I mean, maybe they were and we just didn't know, but like, I have a hard time imagining
they didn't have the opportunity to be self-conscious. They didn't have to take selfies or take videos of themselves or post themselves every day on social media or really have to, unless they got a hold of some interview, I'm sure they weren't really having to see and hear themselves as often as we have.
And I would like to think Janis Joplin and Joan Jett don't give a fuck.
They don't.
Like when I met Joan Jett, I met her, I had just started interning at WAF, which was the radio station that I was at for 29 years. She was the first rock star I ever met, like in person in the halls of a radio station. She walks in leather pants, a wife beater, no bra, not giving a fuck. And all I could think about was A, holy shit, that's Joan Jett, and B, she's so short. Like
she's a very petite woman.
She is.
Very petite.
But she walked into that place like she fucking built it and owned it. Like, that's just how she is. And I was like, that was a defining, because I was 18 years old, right? And now I'm meeting Joan Jett, and I was like, wow, this woman just walked in and owned the place in this room full of dudes. Like, she just walked in and was like, what?
I find that people who are the most confident are the people who they know who they are. But they have, like, for me, my confidence, when I find I'm the most confident, is when like I am doing like, you know, playing guitar or singing, something that I fully understand, something that I know I'm fucking good at, like that. So that kind of confidence, somebody like Joan Jett, songwriting, guitar playing, as a performer, she fully knows who she is. She fully understands, you know, rock music and singing and performing. And so like, yeah, of course she walks in like she fucking owns the place, because she's the shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's so, yeah. I mean, like, of course that's just, God, I would have killed I've known Joan Jett when I was 18.
I didn't know her. I just met her in the hall and I was just like, oh my God, you're Joan Jett. Yeah. Like, and when the Me Too movement really kicked in, because I've worked in rock radio so long, I had so many people reach out to me and they're like, oh, I can only imagine your stories. And what was really hard for me was that I really didn't have a lot of issues coming up in my career because, like I said, there was always that token chick role, right? And I was fortunate enough that I was able to get that role, that, I was the one woman that got in the door. And unfortunately, the other ones behind me, it was like, well, we already have Carrie, so we don't need. But what the one thing that I did, you know, start talking about is that it wasn't so much that I was female, but I started getting whispers, weird conversations as I got older. And I actually had a boss say to me once, how much longer do you think you can be Mistress Carrie? And I just looked at this old, almost 70-year-old fucking guy who's my boss and like wanting to smash his face into the fucking vending machine, but knowing I can't. And trying to figure out how you answer that question and not get fired, but at the same time. So I asked if he had asked one of the guys on the morning show that question, who is 10 years older than me and was like, you know, known for, he was like the man child of the show, right? I was like, well, did you ask him that question? Like this is me. Like this is me.
Ageist.
I would look like this and listen to the music I listen to and live the lifestyle and have the tattoos and the Harley and all that, whether I was a barista at Starbucks or on this radio station. And so I find it very interesting to go back to what you and I were talking about, that as this renaissance, as Andy called it, of women in rock, it's interesting that then there's like this, but are you going to be too old? And it's like, ask fucking Joan Jett that.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, no wonder. I mean, like the whole concept of being the token woman is one of the reasons why women for so long didn't really support each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Because this competition was created by men.
Yeah.
And
there's 6 dogs in the pen and 1 steak. Here's the 1 steak. You guys fight over it.
Really fucked up. I mean, that's something I've been dealing with my entire career, is pinning me against another woman. Like, it's just so fucked up. But you know, now that kind of that gate and that door has been kicked open and women are realizing that that's just a man-made rule that's been put into place that we can choose to disagree with. That's what I've noticed with women supporting women, is that them understanding, no, bitch, we can all fucking succeed. So that's what I have to say about that. And that's something that I've very much recognized in the rock community
100%.
Specifically.
Yep.
Is the female support I've received since entering into active rock and this whole like hard rock universe, is the women have each other's backs through and through. Look at what's happening. Women are taking over this scene. It's fucking phenomenal what can happen when women all, you know, hold each other's hands.
And it's not a man-hating thing either.
No, it's not a man-hating thing. No, but it's also, it's like To me, rock doesn't know age. It doesn't know looks. It doesn't know religion. It doesn't know race. It has no bias. So the idea of your boss coming to who's a fucking,
who's been on the air for 20 fucking years,
iconic radio host, and saying to you, I cannot.
Trust me.
Does he not know the rules in this?
Oh,
what?
Yeah, and I joke all the time.
I'm so glad you called him out for that. I'm so glad that you did. But that's just fucked up.
I have that guilt though, where I feel like I should have been more. Now that the radio station, because it was WAF in Boston, so as of last February, it went off the air after 50 years, and we all got laid off a couple weeks before COVID, which totally sucked. And reinventing everything, and building my own studio. Getting back on the radio in a bunch of stations around the country, launching my podcast so I can have a place for these long form, amazing conversations that I've always wanted to have. I have joked many times since I started my own company that when I cash my first $1 million check, that motherfucker's the first one I'm calling. And I
just to be like, ha, bye.
Because I don't know if this is... I think women like us are all cut from the same cloth. Tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like I need that guy to get me mad because the anger motivates me to work harder and be better. Are you that way?
Are you kidding me? That's what Lilith was born out of. 100%. Do you know how many instances and stories and men I've filed away in my brain cabinet? I have a folder, I'm not even kidding, in my mind where I go, oh, okay, well, I'm going to just take that shitty thing that you just did. I'm going to file it away for later. I'm going to pull it back out when I need it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I wish I wasn't so motivated by the word no. Like, I wish that I didn't need... There are some people that can get inspired and want the world to be nice. And for some reason, I'm that person that needs to be told, nope, it's impossible. You can't do it. And then I go,
oh, my God.
Oh, okay. Now I'm going to do it now just to fucking shove it up your ass. But why do I need to be told that to get motivated?
Because revenge is sweet, baby. That's why.
Yes, it's so
That's
true.
why. 100% one of my biggest motivating factors is being told you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, really? Watch me. Watch me, bitch.
Hold my beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold these. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the crazy thing, right? So we're having a very serious conversation about the struggles that women have had in rock and the amazing leaps and bounds that have been made and the granite shoulders we all stand on, right? You know, I'm standing on Carol Miller's shoulders and so many amazing women in rock shoulders that were there in radio and, and yet at the same time, are we supposed to feel grateful for the shitty treatment? Because that is what, in fact, motivated us to be better. That's kind of
I know. It's like, it is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I think in general, women are lionesses. And I think that when you can rise above the, whatever counter you're up against, anything that's like pushing you, I think people that can go, you know what? Fuck you, fuck that, watch me, and can rise above that. More power to them. I mean, I feel like for me, I just feel like life is a game, and no matter your gender or, what you're, no matter who you are, race, sex, all of that, I feel like when presented with problems, our natural instinct is to solve them. And being told no and like, you can't do this is just another problem. And we, as humans go, okay, well, how am I going to solve it?
It's come up so many times on the show, especially since COVID, right? The adversity that everyone has had to go through. It's not just the music and entertainment industry, but just the world has struggled. And especially when you're talking about struggles with women, struggles with race, the inclusion. I've said this so many times on the show. It is kind of crazy that rock is kind of showing everyone else that we can create this place where you leave whatever it is, for the most part, political, like all that stuff, leave it at the door, because once you're inside, we're all there for this common thing. We're all there for the love of the music and to experience this thing at the same time. It's like rock music is this example of this utopian society in a way, because once you're inside that show, that concert, everything is equal because we just want to love the music.
Absolutely. It's absolutely the most unjudgmental genre of music. 100%. For me, rock is, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's, to be at least, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like to be a rock musician or to be a rock, listener or whatever, it's kind of like, you have to kind of earn it.
Yeah. And rock what I mean? Fans can sniff out a fake.
Oh.
Which is why I think going back to like talking about The Voice, like when you're, you've got either these reality shows telling you what rock is, or how many times have we seen like an actor or somebody that's like, I'm going to release a rock record because I learned how to play guitar. And like, there's certain ones that are.
Don't get me fucking started.
Like, oh God,
what's going on in music right now with people. I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to get fucking, ripped apart. But there's just a certain, pop musicians being like, I'm going to make a rock record now. I'm like, well, you know what? You can't fucking call yourself a rock star.
Those tattoos don't come off, honey.
No. Yeah. You didn't travel in cars and vans and sleep at fans' houses and have, cup of noodles that you had to like be like, well, I'll have half of it today and half of it tomorrow. Like you can't do that. Yeah. You don't get to succeed in become a fucking quadruple billionaire or whatever in pop music and then decide that you're going to do rock music.
Yeah. The struggle's not there. Rock is the voice of the struggle of the people. And you've got to have that level of struggle, but that's also what makes the relationship with the fans last forever.
It's such a loyal genre of music. I mean, it's totally, you're not wrong. Rock music is healing. It's comforting. It's a hand to hold. It's a hug. It's tears. It's medicine. It's therapy. It's all of
the soundtrack to all your good times too. All the amazing memories.
Absolutely. I mean, it is, again, becomes part of your DNA.
Yeah.
And I think that, that's a reason why, people hold on to it forever and why we're all so, why we as like a group get along so well is because we have this commonality that is something that makes up a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
And because we have that, similar affinity and love for something, it just makes us go, oh, you're my people.
Yeah.
You're like,
I don't want to fight with you except like, we'll get into a debate about which guitar player's better or whether or not Rubber Soul is good or not. Like, that's the extent of the arguments.
I hate Rubber Soul.
But that's like the extent of the arguments that rock fans want to get into with each other is frivolous, like arguments. Sammy or Dave, like the big debate.
Precisely. Things that we will not, it won't end in, hopefully it doesn't end in a fist fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I ask songwriters this when they come on the show, and I'm really curious to hear your answer. I got to credit the guys from Royal Blood that I had on the show because they were the first guys, and the question just kind of came out, and then I was like, I need to ask every songwriter this question because the answers are amazing. This is a songwriter's question. Give me an example or two of a song that as a songwriter you covet, that it's such a pure example of perfect songwriting you wish you wrote it, but break it down as a songwriter as to why it's such good songwriting. And I don't care the genre, the artist.
Oh my God.
And it's hard because we all love music so much.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's hard too because so many songs that I wish I wrote. Oh my God, this question.
I know. I know it's a hard question, but
okay.
I love the answers.
Well, we've been talking about the Beatles a lot, so Hey Jude or While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Oh.
Okay. Well, okay.
And
well,
first
Hey Jude,
of all, it's like different songwriters too, right? Like,
oh, I know. You've got Lennon and you've got McCartney.
Well, isn't that Harrison? Isn't While My Guitar? That's Harrison.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps was George.
Yes, that's what I mean.
George. Oh my God. Well, I mean, oh, that's right. It was yesterday that I was thinking for McCartney. Yeah. Sorry. I'm like, question has thrown my my musical history knowledge for a loop. Well, I'll say this. Jude, the dynamic from starting, just with piano and just that instantly that iconic melody, Hey Jude, don't be afraid. You would never know that goes to where it goes to at the end, where it's just become this like all this bluesy yelling and like the Jude. Yeah. Na, 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 na. Like that, starting from here and just escalating to this explosion at the end is like a songwriter's like wet dream.
Yeah.
That I mean, anybody who's a songwriter that's listening to this right now, I would have to call them out if they did not admit that when you're writing a song, you don't want to end with na 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 na, and then like having this like canon of melodies and different lyrics and stuff going throughout. It's just like, that's to me the best way to end a song is different melodies over different melodies with different lyrics and just an explosion of like, a choir of people shouting behind you. It's like the most epic way to end a song. So that's my breakdown for Hey Jude. Did you say 2 songs?
Well, as many as you want to give me. It's just such a fascinating question. I think because I'm not a songwriter. And so songwriters are going to pick it apart differently, the way that a chef would pick apart a meal differently, because you're just going to look at it differently.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think of one more. Well, Stairway to Heaven. Oh gosh.
Yeah, because it's different than just the lyrics. It's like you could argue guitar tones and stuff, but it's the actual
exactly my brain is right now. My brain is going through lyrics, melody, and like leads. And
The guys from Royal Blood gave me the answer of We Will Rock You from Queen.
Oh my God, I was just going to bring up Freddie Mercury. I was just going to bring up Queen.
Because they cited the simplicity of it. And so many artists have said that the best crafted songs are the simple ones that every other songwriter goes, well, I could have fucking written that, but you didn't. Because you didn't think of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if you go back throughout rock history, some of the biggest songs in rock are 3 or 4 chords, and a lot of them are the same chords as each other. Like there is a formula. It's just being able to water it and pull out the best melody you can from that, that lives in that chord progression, or, writing something that everybody can connect with. The genius thing about We Will Rock You was that they included the audience.
Well, like Hey Jude does that too.
Exactly. And so me as a music fan, I'm sure you do the same thing too. I mean, all the time listening to music, I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'll be singing fucking whatever, Freddie or Janice or whoever. And like, I want to feel like I'm contributing to it. Like it's also my song. You want to feel very, very, very connected with it. And so the brilliant thing about We Will Rock You was that their whole intention behind that song was to give the audience something to do, to participate.
And we want to be involved in that's why we're all there. We're matriculating to the Borg at that point. It's like we all want to be attached in that moment into something.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. That's what a great, I can't even beat that. There's no way I could beat that.
Like any musician that goes up on stage, if you went up and just grabbed the mic and said, nah, 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 everyone in the crowd would go, nah, 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 nah. Like,
100. I mean, but Freddie was like, that was so brilliant with audience participation.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole concept was so, there's still to this day, I don't know anybody who was better at it.
That's the thing. We can get into one of those rock and roll arguments about greatest frontman, but normally, pretty often, Freddie Mercury, if he's not number one, he's going to be top 3.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I probably watched their Live Aid performance over 50 times.
Probably not as many as Rami Malek, because he had to memorize it.
Oh my God, dude. He did such a good job.
I know.
Oh my God.
Roger Taylor came out recently because Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to be cast in that role originally. Yeah. Mind blowing. I know. And Roger Taylor was basically like, he's not that good of an actor. He's too tall. Like, you just imagine Borat as Freddie Mercury. I know.
No, you would never take it seriously. You'd just the entire time be going, my life. No.
I know.
God.
It's crazy.
I'm so happy they fixed that.
I know. Well, I am so happy that I got to talk to you. Everybody that I know that knows you was like, oh, wait till you talk to her. You're going to love her. And they were totally right.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, Carrie. That's so nice. That makes me feel so good. I am awesome. No.
Created from Filth and Dust is the record that's out. And January 20th. Well, in January, you're going to be making up the Evanescence, Hailstorm, Lilith, Czar dates that you guys had to postpone.
Yep. Oh, my God, what a bummer.
And then the big gig at the end of April with Godsmack, 3 Days Grace, Black Veil Brides. That show was supposed to be the 50th anniversary party for my old radio station. And then the station got taken off the air and COVID hit and the show's been postponed. So this is the farewell of WAAF 2 years after we went off the air by the time you're in town.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to be, so I'm going to be there to host it. It's going to be a happy and sad night because the arena will be filled with, people that grew up listening to this iconic rock station that went off the air last year. And yeah, it sucked. I was on the air at the very end. It was terrible. It was like putting a dog down. Like you don't want to do it, but you want to be the one in the room. Kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine, how hard that must have been. Man, fucking COVID.
Because, it wasn't even COVID. We went off the air a few weeks before COVID hit, but it's one of those things that these iconic rock stations, like, they're going away slowly. And the good thing about the rock community is that we're still finding ways to connect, which is why I launched my podcast, so many episodes ago, was to be able to have this rock community still have a place that's like ours. It's like we're going back underground a little bit, which is kind of cool in a way.
No, for sure. I mean, I think that I find that the music industry or music genres in general are very cyclical.
Yep.
And I mean, what I'm witnessing, at least for me, is that like the same sort of thing that I saw back in like, the 90s with rock music and it becoming very mainstream. I feel like as much as Gen Zs drive me insane, I think that, they're discovering a beautiful world that you and I have grown up in and
Gen Xers took a lot of shit back in the day, and we've proven to be quite resilient as a generation, the Gen Xers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that rock music, the reason it's never gone away is because it never, people are always like, oh, rock is dead. No, it's been alive. It's the longest lasting genre of music. It has survived everything and continues to survive and continues to thrive because it is the greatest genre of music, in my opinion.
It's just going to reinvent itself. And that process of reinvention is scary. And sometimes you gotta die to be something else. Like you're not going to be the same thing. The caterpillar kind of concept or whatever. It's like, it's changing.
Absolutely. You got it. Absolutely. I mean, you've got to, and you have to reinvent yourself. And I think that's what real artists and real rock artists do constantly is they redefine themselves and reinvent themselves over and over. And it's a forever continuous creation. And that's what's so wonderful about rock music is it's ever creating.
Well, this is the first time that I have done an interview where the person was in their spouse's childhood bedroom. Which I have to say out loud has been something that's popped in and out of my head a few times while you and I have been talking. Because I'm like, wow, they definitely renovated it since he lived in there because it's...
Oh, no, it's totally different. I mean, the one remaining thing, we've still got Alkaline Trio on the wall. I'm seeing if there's anything else. No, it's been like redone because I remember the first time I saw this room in 2011, I think it was. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm admitting this. Okay, so we walked in and I was like, we walked in and it was very different. Posters and shit fucking everywhere. Total teenage boys room. And like Andy and I, well, I'm a few years older than he is. So we come in here and I was like looking at the bands on the walls. And I'm like, oh, these are kind of modern bands. And I was like, how old are you?
I'm a few years older than my husband too.
I was like, did you,
can I see your ID? I just want to confirm because I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, and so it worked. It's fine. It clearly worked out. But there's something to be said, by the way, about having younger. It says something about them.
Yeah.
Like Andy, when I met Andy, it was like, 20 or are you an 80-year-old man? Because because he's so wise, so smart, so wise.
Yeah.
Very, very ahead of his body, very ahead of his, his body age. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, now it's definitely more adult. And
it does say something about, the guy that wants to have that. Because I'm 5 years older than my husband, and who, by the way, is a country music fan. Yeah, I know. Can we just process that for a second? Like grew up.
But like what kind of like modern?
No, he's into like the outlaw stuff. Like he loves Johnny Cash and like his experience with rock music is like AC/DC. Like that's his. So like when he and I started dating, we didn't grow up in the same state. So he didn't grow up, like he didn't listen to the radio station I worked at. He didn't know what I did for a living. Like it was like a blind date scenario. And when we started dating and stuff, he was like, well, like, what do you mean? Like, like what you do for work and stuff. So I was like, okay, the radio station's presenting Metallica at the football stadium. So I'm going to take you and I got to interview James Hetfield backstage at the show. And then I'm going to introduce the band on stage in front of 70,000 people. And you're going to come with me and you can see what I mean.
Oh my God.
And he was like, who's James Hetfield?
No. Oh my God.
And I was like, the fuck? Because
I can't.
First of all, he's a Marine. So how he made it through, 2 decades of war as a Marine and didn't know who Metallica was, I still haven't been able to do that archaeological dig.
Seriously, I commend you because I think this is why none of my relationships ever worked out in the past because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like with boyfriends and stuff like that, I was just like, oh my God, what do you mean you don't know this or that or this song or this artist or like having to like them be so fascinated with like my electric guitars and like just like I was just like I don't have anything in common. I don't have anything in common with you. And that like to take the time to be as patient, like that's something I just don't have. So I
don't have it either.
Tremendously for that.
And the thing is like I found it refreshing because he didn't want to pepper me because he wasn't a rock fan. So he wasn't asking me, what does James Hetfield smell like?
Oh,
and what are these?
That's a real.
So for me, it was something that was like, okay, you look at this as what I do for a living and you respect my career and you understand that there's hard work that goes into it and all of that. But he's not like so fixated on it that it's why he loves me. Which was a really interesting thing for me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of like along the same lines as why I think Andy and it worked out so well for me and Andy because he wasn't like, who do you know? What have you been on tour with? What is this like? He just I think that there was a comfort in knowing that the other one there was no secret MO or like, he didn't care who I knew or who I'd been on tour with or who I was friends with or whatever it is that I have done in my career and vice versa.
Well,
and
you want to be able to lay in bed with your gross guitar hand rubbing his head, right?
Let me touch you.
And like have no makeup on and have your hair up and be in sweatpants. And it's like, if the person's with you because of what you do, because of the lipstick, because of the stage persona, because of like all of that, like those things can all go away. I mean, like
100%.
And then what's left?
Oh, no. I mean, I could not agree more. I mean, that's never a recipe for a successful relationship ever. And that's like, I think that's why Andy and I tell each other all the time how lucky we are because we see it all the time. Yeah. We see it with our friends and bands and musicians and we see who they start to date and we're like, well, I have a just so you know, I'm picking up a little. Yeah, like it's so we say it to each other all the time how lucky we are that we found a partner that doesn't give a shit who they are.
And the thing is, like, when you guys get to tour together, it's great, right? But then there's going to be times where you guys are crisscrossing tours and not able to, like, see each other. And, like, my husband's been deployed for the last 15 and a half months. I haven't, like, he's been gone. So, I mean.
Are you? Oh, my God. Yeah. I thought it was bad. I'm going on 3 months. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And this is his. So, I mean, obviously, I knew what I was getting into. We just got married last year in the middle of COVID. We were together for years. Oh, my gosh,
congratulations.
Thank you. We got married in the driveway in the middle of a pandemic. And
that's so romantic.
We had everybody.
That is.
It was really sweet. Like, we had everybody, like, sectioned off in, like, lawn chair pods because of COVID, you know? And we ordered pizza and delivered like pizza and bottles of champagne. And like everybody just kind of stayed away. And we got married in the front yard because he was getting ready to deploy. And it was like, well, there's a pandemic and we can't have a big dumb wedding. So this is what we can do. And
are you kidding me? That doesn't matter. That's so romantic.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
This is his third deployment just since we've been together. So it's like some people are like, I don't know how you can handle like the distance and the separation. But with you and Andy, same thing with me and my husband, like it's part of the gig. Like it's just part of what you do.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely get used to it. Yeah. Like, you know, we're both such independent people that like we're able to deal with it. And like, you know, now he goes and I'm like, okay, cool. House to myself. Yeah. Like, it's like, you know, you figure out how to keep your mind occupied, how to stay busy. And you've learned, especially over the years, and I'm sure for you too, you learn to cope with that distance.
And then you don't have to feel guilty for like when you work late because they're not home, like waiting for you. So like for me, like if I would just want to like lock myself in the studio and edit for 12 hours, like, I'm not like, oh, I should go upstairs because, you know, like, it's like, okay, well, he's not even here. So I'm just going to work and be able to get my shit
you're able
done.
to be like super selfish, which is like, in my opinion, everybody needs to have that like boundary, whoever you're with, of selfishness.
Yeah.
So, like,
but then it's nice when he's home and then I can shut everything else off and be like, okay, now we're just going to be like, we're going to have such quality time. Like I'm going to climb inside your underwear and like live there for a month.
I know. I'm going to just curl up into your armpit and just smell it.
You don't mind if I burrow into your abdominal cavity, do you? Because I just want to hang out there and nap. Is that cool?
That's so fucking funny. Andy and I talk about it all the time. How like we can't get close enough.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, I just want to climb inside your skin.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I want you inside my skin. And it's so disgusting.
That's
but so
a rock
romantic.
thing, because only rock people would be like, oh, I totally get it. Everyone else is like, oh my God, that's horrible.
Oh my God, you guys are fucking serial killers. And you're like, yeah, I would absolutely eat him.
Plus, I had to marry him because he bought me black diamond skull engagement rings and wedding rings. So I'm like, God. I gotta lock that shit down.
Oh, he's a rock dude. Yeah. That guy's a rock music lover. You just don't know it yet.
So I'm hoping that at some point, like maybe for the big gig at the end of April when he's home, that I'll be able to bring him to the show, which would be great.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome. Also, so romantic how you guys got married. Yeah. I mean, so romantic.
We could do a double date. You and Andy will be together at the show because you're playing that show together. And if I can bring my husband there, we can like.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I would love that so much.
Although that might be like Ghostbusters Crossing of the Streams, where if all four of us were in the same place, it might open up a hole to another dimension.
A black hole just might start circling and it just sucks us out into this other alternate universe.
Yeah.
Where COVID never existed.
Yeah.
I'm watching Dark show on Netflix.
No.
Anyways, I don't want to give anything away, but it's about like time travel and like black holes and different dimensions and stuff like that.
I have binged every pandemic end of the, like, I don't know why. I'm rewatching The Walking Dead right now. It's like I need to punish myself. I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? But I'm rewatching it all right now. And I'm like living through this pandemic going, are people going to start turning into zombies? Like, is that? I just want to be ready. It's like a training manual.
Dude, I mean, when the pandemic started, I think the entire world was like, well, we may as well do some research and be entertained at the same time. So like we watched all of the End of the World movies. And like I was like, maybe
Outbreak, World War Z. Like I'm watching all of them.
Yeah, maybe this is where we all die or turn into, you know, we eating fucking scab blood monsters. Like, I don't know. Like maybe this is it. And
I've been a doomsday prepper for years. And when COVID hit, all of a sudden, no one thought I was crazy anymore. And they were like, what should I be stockpiling in the basement right now?
You're like, oh, now you want to be my friend.
Yeah. Oh, now you get it. Oh, okay. And they're like, I'll just come to your house. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, no.
Not invited.
Yeah. I'll just come to your house and just, you know, notes and pictures of everything you stocked up on so I know what to do. Dude, when fucking COVID hit, Andy and I were like, I remember going to the first, like, you know, grocery store, Target, whatever. I could not believe empty. It was like
the toilet paper thing threw me for a loop. Oh my God. I'm like, you motherfuckers, that's what you're going to be worried about is what you're wiping your ass with? Like, you should be worried about the food.
Oh, well, you know what? I was so proud of us. Okay, so Annie and I are like exclusively disposable wipes people.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Military thing. Baby wipes is life. Yeah.
Baby wipes is life, for sure. So like at the beginning of the pandemic, everybody's stocking up on toilet paper. Andy and I are like,
and the shelves are full of wipes. They're full of wipes. There were wipes everywhere. And I'm going, you guys think you're going to have water. Go for the wipes. And they take up less room. Like it doesn't make any sense.
And you need less of it.
Yes.
So, I know. So we were like, everybody was like, we need toilet paper. And we're like,
metric fuck ton of babywipes.com. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Andy's going to listen to this interview and be horrified. Sorry, Andy.
He's going to be horrified that I got the While My Guitar Gently Weeps Harrison shit wrong. That was a total brain fart. Anybody listening to this, I did not fuck that up. I was thrown for a loop because of the question.
I apologize. It's okay. It's okay.
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I hope nobody steals it from me because I've been asking that question now. And the list, like the responses and the breakdown, like Brent Smith from Shinedown broke down Black Hole Sun. Broke it down because he knows the guy that produced the record and he knows how the producer got Chris Cornell to write that song. And like, I mean, I'll just tell you quickly, he went to Tower Records in LA and he bought every Frank Sinatra record and he brought it to the studio and told Chris Cornell to go home and listen to Sinatra. And he did that for like 2 weeks and he came back with Black Hole Sun. Like, that's why this question is so good because it comes from that craft place.
Right. Okay. I have one more song then for you.
Okay, good.
David Bowie's Life on Mars. Do you know how that song was conceived?
No, but I'm here for it.
So it was, okay, so Sinatra.
Wait, Frank Sinatra and what? I didn't hear you.
My Way?
Yep.
Okay. So that song so that song was brought to David Bowie to sing.
My Way was?
Yes. And so it's like it was brought to him to do something with, and they pulled it from him. And so Life on Mars is actually a fuck you song because it's the same chord progression. He got so angry that they took that song from him that he wrote Life on Mars.
Wait, so before Sinatra recorded it, he was going to record it, or they wanted him to cover it?
It was like it was some sort of maybe for a movie or something.
Oh.
I have to go back through to get the exact.
We can Google. We're master Googlers over here. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm a Google doctor at this point. So his fuck you and like show you how much you fucked up was writing Life on Mars.
See, now how many times do we cite the Beatles in rock and roll as inspiration? Now, this is the second time Sinatra has come up on the show as being instrumental in inspiring an iconic rock song.
I mean, he was like kind of one of the first, like, I mean, I know the music, not, but like he was a fucking rock star, man. He didn't give a fuck, smoked, drank, sang, total, like, I mean, his lifestyle was very rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know? And
nobody at the time was more famous. Like he was like, for the level of fame you could achieve without the internet.
There was like 3 famous people, and he was one of them.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I can see why a lot of stuff stems back to him.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love songwriters breaking down songwriting inspiration and songs that they love so much, because it is kind of like a Lego block thing, right? Where you can see how the songs get crafted and put together, and the inspiration behind it and how they recorded it. And I talked to Toby Wright, the record producer, and he told me that if you go and listen to, because he produced Follow the Leader, so if you go back and listen to Got the Life, that weird guitar thing at the beginning, that was a practice amp recorded through a fan that they an oscillating fan in the studio.
Oh my God.
And so hearing it, because that was his idea as the producer, and he was like, just bear with me. I'm going to put a microphone, and I want to put the amp on one side of the fan, and I'm going to put the mic on the other side of the fan. And they crank the fan up, because every kid has done that whole thing where they yell into a fan and it makes weird things with your voice.
Yeah.
Listen to the beginning of Got the Life. That is the guitar part recorded through an oscillating fan.
That's how they did that.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, I love stories like this. Rad. It's so cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like also, God, man, back in the day when they used to record to tape, it was like the shit that they had to do in order to achieve what we can now with the push of a button is like no one, I mean, the reason why there were so many less, musicians back in the day and like, is because you had to be really fucking skilled. You had to really know what you were doing. I mean, like take fucking even Edge of 17, that was recorded live in the room with all of the singers and the band and Stevie singing the whole thing. That's why because I covered that for Created from Filth and Dust, I told Scott, I was like, I know we're not recording to tape, but let's at least, Stevie, justice, and let's sing the song from start to finish. And we'll pick our favorite take. We'll do 3 takes. We'll pick our favorite take, and that'll be it. And that's the level of skill and talent you had to have back in the day. Was shit like thinking of things like, well, we're going to record it through this to get this kind of crazy effect, which now you can easily do with like going like plink, plink, plink.
Well, that's how Miles and Slash recorded their new record. They recorded it live in the studio, which I'm loving that rock bands are starting to do that old school stuff, because I feel, and this is what Miles said, you can hear the difference. That it sounds so much more raw, and leave the mistakes in there. Leave them in there. Like Tyler Connolly, literally from Theory of a Dead Man, just was talking about A Day in the Life. That was his pick for the songwriting question. And he said he listened to it in one of the recording studios at Abbey Road, where it was recorded, because they got a tour and they were asked, what song do you want to listen to? And he said A Day in the Life. They cranked it up at the end, listened to the hiss, and at the very end of A Day in the Life, somebody turns in their chair and their chair squeaks and someone goes, shh. And it's still on the record now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
Fucking right.
And Edge of 17 is Diamante's pick. That's the song she picked that she wished she wrote. Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, clearly I wish I wrote it. I put it on my album. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love Diamante, by the way. I just want to say that really quickly. She's fucking awesome. But yeah, I mean, we tried to keep a few of those like kind of raw, real moments in the record as well. In King, where I say the line, "Who's to say a woman can't think with her dick?" The laugh that happens after that line was me really laughing. It was the first take that we picked, and that laugh was me really like, witch heckle laughing because I can't believe we're singing this fucking line. So if you listen to that, you'll hear the laugh is a real laugh. And then same with In My Head, I have a line that says, I serve killer cereal in a basket case. You'll want to medicate the crazy away. Just wait a second till you hear what the voices say. And I was laughing while I was singing that line because it was just so like, people are going to think I'm fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. And so I was laughing while I was singing it. We kept that take.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
but that's what makes rock and roll so cool. It's the one little off note in an iconic solo that you leave in there because that's what makes it cool.
Dude, have you recently listened to like Jagged Little Pill or even like Sheryl Crow's Tuesday Night Dance Club? She is flat and sharp all over the place. Holy shit.
Leave it the fuck alone, though. Leave it alone.
It's so perfectly imperfect.
Yes.
I love it. I mean, when people tell me like, oh, your vocals aren't perfect, I'm like, thank you.
No, they shouldn't be.
No, fuck no. I mean, like, that's what I miss so much about, these classic rock and iconic records is that like perfect imperfectness.
Yeah. Well, it's the difference between listening to the radio and hearing the guy go, "Hey, it's 4 past the hour." Or listening to a rock DJ that's just like talking to you about something cool that you want to hear. It's like, it's just a totally different listening experience. Pro Tools can make anybody cool or sound
well,
good.
yeah, I mean, that's why we have a bazillion artists now.
It's catfishing. Call it what it is. You're getting audibly catfished.
Oh my God, I've never thought of it that way, but totally.
It's true.
That's a fucking movie.
That's a fucking Snapchat filter of what you really are. And without all of that stuff, it's not real. Whereas a rock fan a rock artist will just go up on stage and be like, let's go.
I mean, that's what separates the people who were made to do this and the people who aren't is, okay, use your microphone, go on stage.
Yeah.
You can always tell from a live performance if the person is authentic or not.
P.S. Your monitors are going to go down. Your in-ears won't work. You're going to break a string in the middle of a solo. The drummer's head on the snare just broke. And figure it out.
But fucking figure it out. Yeah, I mean, fuck, man. Every day on this run with Evanescence and Hailstorm, something was going wrong for us on stage. But the show fucking goes on. And like, I remember, oh God, it used to eat me alive when I was a teenager. I would just get off stage if something went wrong and I would just be so upset about it. And it would just drive me so crazy. Now, oh my God, now it makes the set. It makes the show. We get off stage and I'm like, oh my fucking God, dude, this bass sounded like a fucking fart in my monitors. It was hilarious. And you just go like now, all of the fuck ups and all of the weird things and all of the crazy, like, spontaneous things that happen on stage is like what makes it.
Well, Spinal Tap proves itself to be true. You're going to get stuck in a pod. At some point, you're going to get stuck in a pod. And you can either freak out about it or you can Dave Grohl it, break your leg, build a throne, and go back out on the road.
Dude. Dave, have you listened to his or read his autobiography?
No, not yet.
It's called the Storyteller.
Yeah, it's on my list of books. Like,
okay, if you're going to do anything for yourself this holiday season, let me tell you, just put that shit on and just listen. It is fucking incredible. It's him, it's him telling you reading off his book. And it's just so the shit that he has been through and the fucking, that guy God, I just want to hang out with him.
Well,
so
how
bad.
do you be in Nirvana, right? And then be in a bigger band than Nirvana.
It's 1 in a billion. What he did.
Yeah, with fans telling him not to, that it was disrespectful, that he wanted to keep making music, and how dare you, and whatever.
Well,
and it's
again, it's that human nature of being told no, and you going, I can't wait to fucking prove you wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. And he really did that. But yeah, him breaking his.
I mean, and to make it like a poster, your X-ray is now the tour poster. Like, fuck it.
It's genius.
Yeah.
It's genius. The best when you're listening to him describe that night, how he had like the on-site doctor,
like holding his leg,
and he's playing. I think he was playing. I don't know. It was fucking Everlong or something. And he looks down at the doctor, and he goes, it's fucking crazy. And how the doctor was like, "This is awesome," and he's like singing the lyrics basically back to Dave. While Dave is just like, "This is fucking amazing." And the doctor's like, "Oh my God." And like, it turns out the doctor was actually a musician.
Oh my God.
And so for him, it was the greatest fucking experience.
Well, he's a doctor.
Entire life.
Like when else is he going to get that rock star experience? But he will forever be the Dave Grohl leg doc. Like he'll always be that guy.
Oh, forever.
Yeah. It's
so awesome.
It is funny that, it's like, I feel like every month looking for something to talk about on the show. I mean, just last month, Vince Neil fell off the stage. Ben Bruce from Asking Alexandria told me he fell off the stage. It's like they need a railing for you guys because you guys keep falling.
Dude, do you know how many feet injuries? And first of all, Ben, I'm friends with him, so Ben, I have to wear heels. You are in fucking whatever boots or chucks that you're wearing.
You and Lizzie Hale are wearing these fucking stiletto shoes, which I don't know how you do.
Lizzie is way more ballsy than me. She's wearing like the crazy ass pleaser,
they're stripper shoes. Yeah.
They're look, I will do a photo shoot or a music video all day long in stripper shoes. I commend the crap out of her going on stage for an hour and a half, however long her set is, and just ripping, just absolutely the whole time with a guitar. I mean, it is
on the monitor, not giving a fuck. I don't know how she does it.
I have to work my way up to that. That's like a whole level of badassery that I will admit I am not at yet. But I am a heel bitch through and through. I like my heels on stage. And the amount of sprains, and I already have like kind of messed up feet, and because I was a dancer and stuff growing up. So, oh my God, the feet injuries alone that I have every year is just like, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, oh my God, maybe I will try some flats.
Or like the Gene Simmons platform, go that route. Like, at least it's flat.
I mean,
I love shoes, but I have a love-hate relationship because I have 2 different size feet. So for every pair of shoes, my feet are 4 sizes different. So I have to buy 2. Oh, I know. I just watched your brain.
No!
So I have to buy 2 pairs of shoes.
So many shoes. Oh no!
And what people don't fucking tell you is that smaller shoes, the heel is proportional. So I found out that sometimes if you buy 2 pairs of the same shoe, the heel is like an eighth of it. And then you're like limping.
No.
Oh, it's a disaster. Like I can't, the heels, it's.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, God, it's almost like at this point you should just find somebody to make you custom shoes.
Well, I found places. Nordstrom doesn't make me buy 2 pairs. They only let me because it's more than 2 sizes. They have a policy that they only let me buy the shoes that I need.
Oh, wow. That's so accommodating.
Yeah, because my husband, like I said, my husband's a Marine. And so I have to go to a lot of formal, any excuse to put him in his Marine dress blues. I'm all about it. So we have to go to these functions and stuff, and it never fails. It doesn't matter how beautiful the gown, whatever. End of the night, shoes are in my hand, and I'm barefooting it through the friggin' parking garage because I can't deal with the shoes at the end of the night. I can't.
No, I'm already there. Like, I have Crocs that I wear to stage.
I wear those too.
And they're so amazing. I got the platform ones. I live in them. So I will wear the Crocs to stage, put the boots on, perform. The moment I am down those steps, my TM's handing me my Crocs back, and I'm putting my fucking Crocs back on. And I'm like, that's it. I can't
wear
do
them
it anymore.
all the time. And my Crocs have Muppet gibbets in them. You know, the little things that you poke into the holes of the Crocs that little kids put, cartoon character, they're called gibbets. I have Muppets gibbets in my Crocs.
Oh my God, those are some fancy Crocs.
Yeah, I'm very high class, and they're 2 different sizes.
I bet you had to buy 2 pairs though, didn't you?
Yeah, those motherfuckers at Crocs.com wouldn't just let me buy 1 pair. I had to buy. So I have a closet full of off shoes that I can't wear. So I make jokes.
What size?
6 and 10.
Oh man.
Right?
Oh my God, that's such a difference.
I joke that I need to befriend 2 badass female amputees because I'll outfit them with shoes for the rest of their lives because I have all these shoes that I can't. I need to find somebody with the opposite feet, but it's pretty hard. I've been looking.
I mean, we're putting the feelers out right now.
And
anybody,
a woman with the opposite feet that wants to live a lifetime supply of combat boots, platform shoes, stripper shoes, and Crocs. I can outfit them with shoes for life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is wild. Well, yeah, I mean, I have my fair share of shoe problems. Not to that extent, but I have, because I was a dancer.
Yeah. In toe shoes?
I have I think they call them hammer toes.
Yep.
So like, here, I'll even show you. I don't care.
Oh
so
my
like,
God, we're
see,
showing feet.
It's okay. There's like a fucking Instagram that's dedicated to my feet. So they're out there. It's fine. The cat's out of the bag. My feet are hideous. So see how it bunions out there? Yeah. So like, I have to constantly, with like certain heels or certain boots, I have to like work the sides of the shoes.
Oh yeah.
To get it softer. Otherwise I feel like my feet are going to break.
Well, I'll show you. I mean, it's hard to show you like this, but.
Wait, you're, oh my God. That's
really
extraordinary.
Yeah. So I learned.
That's extraordinary.
I learned a trick on TikTok. If you're breaking in shoes, people do it for Doc Martens, but I'm going to start doing it with all of my shoes. You put a giant Ziploc freezer bag inside another freezer bag, and you fill it with water inside the shoe, and you put it in the freezer, and the water expands and stretches the leather of the shoe out. I haven't done it yet, but I'm learning every life hack on the planet on TikTok, and I'm trying it the next time I get like new leather boots because people claim that it works because the ice stretches it out to the point where you can't even pull the ice out of the shoe because it's stretched so much. Then you got to take the shoes out of the freezer, let the ice thaw again,
melt,
and then pull it out and put your foot in the shoe after that, and it'll fit better.
Oh my God.
Try it and let me know if it works. Yeah, because I'm going to
try it because I made the stupid mistake this tour of bringing a brand new pair of boots with me. It was so stupid.
Bad.
No. So like, I'm still recovering from like literally my toes, just open wounds, just so many scabs from these boots. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get these for my winter tour. And then
every
I never
woman has Band-Aids in their purse because you know you're going to get blisters. Like every woman has a Band-Aid in her purse, at least one, if not 2 for the blisters.
I don't have them in here. Otherwise I'd show you them. They're down in my suitcase, but I actually have these fold up like ballet slippers that I bring with me. Like anytime we go out to dinner, anytime we go out, whatever, I put them in my bag because I know within an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm going to be taking my fucking heels off.
I just found those.
They're so convenient.
My husband goes, do you have shoes in your purse?
You're like,
yes, I do.
Yes.
Thank God.
Because I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're married to a genius.
P.S. They're 2 different sizes. Yeah.
my God. Oh my God. It's so fucking
Struggle
hilarious.
is real, Lilith. The struggle is real.
Girl, I fucking get it, dude. I totally, I don't have to deal with two different sized feet, but there's some shit that I have to deal with on the road that I'm just like, oh my God, I must be the only one that has to fucking deal with this.
Yeah. It's not easy, but we make it look good.
Oh yes, we make it look very chic.
That's right. Well, enjoy all your quality family time.
Thank you. I will. I'm very excited.
It was a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to being able to hang out a couple times when you're finally able to come back to town with Evanescence and Hailstorm, and then with Godsmack and 3 Days Grace and Black Veil Brides with the big gig that's at the end of April. I can't wait.
Carrie, I would love nothing more than to hang out with you in person. This has hands down been my favorite interview all year. I mean, an hour and 45 minutes went by and I didn't even fucking
I know. I feel really bad. I kept you way longer than I should have.
No, I am sitting in Cincinnati with my thumb up my butt. I'm like,
and your husband's childhood bedroom.
I'm like, so what else should we talk about?
I have to go downstairs and have scrambled eggs with my in-laws.
Andy doesn't get here until Monday. Look, don't get me wrong. Amy and Chris are like my favorite people on the planet, but it's just nice.
You're like, I was supposed to be on tour with Hailstorm and Evanescence.
I'm supposed to be opening for Hailstorm and Evanescence tonight. Yeah. And I'm sitting. It's all gloomy outside, like my feelings.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's very, very gloomy.
Oh my God, it's so like suburban and residential. Like if they only knew the dark, evil metalness that's coming out of that house.
People knew. Trust me, the stories and the pictures alone, people knew Satan was a stewing in here. 100%. Oh my God, the stories Amy tells me about just like people just thinking they were like, devil worshippers and shit.
Yeah.
Because of the way. Oh, it's so good. He used to.
Well, I
scare the shit out of neighbors. Anyways.
Yeah, right? Well, I have to now our voices are warmed up, right? This is as good as they sound because they're completely warmed up now. So now I have to go to my radio show now.
Oh my God, I should let you go.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's okay.
Oh man.
Isn't that what what they make Led Zeppelin in like November Rain for, to give you those extra few minutes?
Yeah. Oh God. Songs used to be so long. It's insane now what they're like, that's 4 minutes, it's too long. We need to cut out.
Yeah.
We need to cut out a minute. And you're like,
can you make it like Blur Song 2? Can you do that? Can you give me like a minute and 48 seconds and that's it?
God.
Just thank God that the computers
Some of these rock songs that I've been hearing recently, these modern rock songs that are like literally a minute and a half.
Yeah.
I don't want to name the artists, but I'm like ruining it.
Yeah.
Like, you're really ruining it.
I'm just glad the computers help run the studios now, because when I started in radio, like we were still pushing the buttons for every song, and like having to pee as a woman during a Green Day song was really hard. So now at least you can just walk out of the room and know that the computer will not take you off the air and come back. Otherwise, Billy Joe Armstrong needs to write some longer songs for radio DJs because we need to pee from time to time. You know?
I mean, I thank God I'm not alone. I pee. Well, it's also because I drink, and I'm because you're using your voice all day long. You drink a lot of fucking water.
It's coffee.
You drink a lot of liquid.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, probably like every 20 minutes, just because I drink so much fucking water.
You
and I made
peed during this interview.
Mistake. Oh,
Or have you peed during this interview?
No, I'm like a fucking pee ninja. You didn't notice?
You wearing a diaper under those leather pants? What's going on?
I've got my Depends on. No, I have to pee. I have to pee so bad I'm basically holding my vagina. So I made this stupid mistake. This was the last show that we played. I wore this full body. It was like a full body stocking is what we call it. And it didn't have, and then over it, I wore these like these like, it's basically like a leather chastity belt, basically and then this bra thing that goes over it. So the outfit takes like 6 minutes to remove. And I made the dumb choice of wearing that for stage. And like, I put it on about 20 minutes before we went on stage. And so and I'm like, I'll be good. 20 minutes goes by. We get to stage. And I'm like, oh my God, we have to go on and I'm literally going to pee my pants. And
don't worry, you can just bring a fan up from the stage and pee on their face now. It's totally fine and acceptable.
Oh my God, I could not believe that when I heard about that. Bitch is fucking crazy. But
Tyler Connolly from Theory of a Dead Man goes, people used to just wonder if Jim Morrison was going to whip his dick out. Look at how far women have come. They're peeing on dudes' faces now. Like, it's totally fine.
Oh my God, dude.
That's a whole other level of fandom, man. Like, that's...
If I'm ever going to pee on a fan, it's going to be because I couldn't hold it because I was wearing a body stocking. Not because I'm choosing to. I have peed on stage, by the way.
Build a zipper in there. You've peed on stage?
Yeah, on accident. No, because I couldn't control it. Here's the story. Before we leave, I need to back up and tell why I peed on stage.
Because this is what's going to end up in the Instagram story, and people are going to take it the wrong way. So
clarify.
No.
Okay. So it was Warped Tour 2015. I got sick that week. So I saw an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he was like, oh, I'm going to give you some steroids to help you with your voice because I was like coughing and I like had laryngitis. I couldn't really sing. So he was like, here, I'm going to give you some cortisone. It's going to get you through the week. You're going to be fine. Have you ever taken a steroid?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
I'm trying to feel like you can lift a fucking car.
Oh yeah, I had a problem with my back and they put me on prednisone.
Yeah. Same concept.
Yeah.
Makes you feel literally like you could do a backflip off of a tall building and still live.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm on stage performing and I'm like, oh my God, like Hulk mode, going fucking crazy. It was the most intense like feeling of being on stage because you're just like, you have so much adrenaline and so much like power in you that you feel that you have, but isn't really there. It's not real.
Yeah.
It's like by the end of the night, you're basically like pass out because you're so fucking tired because you've exerted yourself so much. But on stage, singing the last song, I'm realizing how badly I have to pee on the last song. And I'm singing this big high note with all of my might. And now when you're singing correctly, you're pushing from your like the area where you pee.
Yeah, your diaphragm,
to support your diaphragm. And that's what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, uncontrollably, unbeknownst to me, I did not agree to this, body. I just started peeing. So what I did is I was like, oh my God. In that 3 seconds, my lizard brain was like, grab your water. So I'm singing and I'm peeing at the same time singing, and I grab my Monster water and I just dump it on top of my head so it would mask the pee puddle that I had that's made on stage. And it did. I got away. Nobody knew.
They know now.
Until now. That's okay. It was like 5 years ago.
Somebody right now is looking up video of that performance going,
There is video of that performance.
Oh, now you know she peed.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Fully peed my pants. I mean,
it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've crapped my pants a little bit too on stage before. It just happens.
You're a member of the I Shit My Pants Club? I know a lot of people that are a member of the I Shit My Pants Club. I am not a club member yet. A lot of my military friends have shit their pants for some reason.
Well, I mean,
it happens.
I would, if I was in war, I'd shit my pants too. But yes, I have shit my pants. I am not afraid to admit.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
I mean, sometimes you go to fart and it's not a fart.
I have a couple friends that still to this day don't believe that I'm not a member of the I Shit My Pants Club, and I have sworn an oath, like a blood oath, that when it happens, because it's bound to happen at some point, that I have to call them and admit to it. Like I have promised.
I'm very impressed. Yeah. I'm very, very impressed because I've shit my pants a couple of times. So the fact that you've never shit your pants.
And I would cop to it. It's not like I'm afraid to admit it if it, it's like, because it's always a good story. Like there's always something going on. But I haven't done it yet. So I'll put you on the phone tree when I shit my pants.
Please do. Please do. I need to know the moment you crap your pants.
This is going to be one of the most downloaded episodes of my podcast for the entire year. I can see this already. Way more downloads than Andy's episode. And half of it I can't even play on the radio show because it's just not even acceptable. Which is what makes the internet so good.
That sounds about right with him. Yeah, I mean, you can say literally talk about crapping your pants, and it's perfectly acceptable.
Totally fine.
Yeah,
totally fine.
Well, on that note,
on that high note,
before I pee my pants,
please don't pee your pants on the show. But to my knowledge, it would be a first. But it's fine.
I really would feel very bad if I had to go and tell Amy that I peed in Andy's room on the ground. I don't know. I'd be like, I'm just gonna leave. Just gonna get out of here.
We're getting divorced. I can't handle this humiliation.
We don't have to talk ever again. It's fine.
And that's how she ruined Christmas.
Holy shit.
Oh, man. It was so good to get to know you today. I knew I was going to have a good time, but oh, man, this has been fun.
So fucking awesome, Carrie. You're the shit. You're the best.
I will see you twice in the next few months. Can't wait. Congratulations on everything. Enjoy everything. Stay healthy. And
same.
And we'll see you soon.
Awesome, Carrie. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. And there she is, Lilith Czar. I told you this was a fun episode, and you had to listen right to the end to get all the good stuff. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss anything from the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday, and every weekday you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report is all of your rock news, music headlines, and industry info in less than 5 minutes. Plus, you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode of the podcast. Now, if you want to find out more about Lilith Czar, check the show notes of this podcast because all of her links are right there. There's also a link to get tickets to the WAF big gig at the end of April. You'll find all of my links there as well, and the link to the corresponding playlist. For every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast, you get a playlist so you can go back and listen to all of the music that we talked about. Huge thanks once again to our sponsor, Digital Federal Credit Union. You can find them online at dcu.org. And you can join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern on my Facebook page for Cocktails in the War Room. The Mistress Carrie podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.